Woo! Hi, it's Heather Biederman for Liberty Librarian. How y'all doing? I am so excited. It is almost the beginning of a nice long weekend and Liberty and all that beautiful stuff. It's going to be kind of glorious. We got one more day of work and then we're free, y'all. So hopefully you're doing good. I am mentally preparing myself for nice weather and like beautiful temperatures, cold beer, and I think it'll be kind of really nice, right? So today, uh, Ms. Heather was at work, physical work. She went in. It was amazing. It's just so weird. I went on a little walk at my lunch break and walked around the halls, and there's hardly anybody there. There's some classes, right? But nothing like what it has been. It just makes me feel kind of sad because, it's like I kind of want more people, more people. So we'll see, we're getting there. Yeah, God, I gotta stop doing work. I get work on the brain. I just saw something pop up and I went, whoa, maybe I should deal with that. No. So, what'd you think of the intro? I worked on doing intros for my show and for Sweet Subversive, so I got something a little more professional looking, and I hope it looks good. Let me know what you think. I also have an outro that's you'll get to see debuted today, so it's amazing. Oh, I'm so awesomely good at getting stuff done. I'm not, but I did. And you know how they say, if you just work on one new thing each week, you'll keep learning forever. And that's the way to go. So that's what I've been trying to do, like some new things. I made the intros kind of using a combination of things. Um, Canva was really easy to use, and I have a free version, so I played around with that. There's an educational version that has a little bit more features that I've been getting to play with, so that's not so bad. And then I use portable apps. The portable apps make it so you can add music to it. Hi, Andy. And it's not too shabby. I use free music because I'm a big believer in being, first of all, not spending a lot of money on shows and getting stuff until like after you make it big, and then you can spend money on your shows. But yeah, he's not going to move. He's guarding my space. He's my studio manager, Rory, and sometimes he wants to be on camera. Sometimes he just wants to sit near and he does what he does, it's the Rory way. So yeah, he's sitting on the other side of my camera. So I think that using free tools is a great way if you're getting started on doing anything like shows. A lot of people jump in too fast and they buy the most expensive equipment. They buy a whole studio worth of stuff. And the hardest thing is just doing it every week, right? You get in front of the camera, you play, but can you talk every week? Can you have enough to say every week? So this is the hard part, it's sticking with it. Most shows, I'd say statistically, after about 2 months, they die because people can't keep their stuff together. Usually, if it's a solo show and you're just talking about something or filming things that you do, it's a little easier because it's just you. But I do think sometimes, like my Sweet Subversive show that we do, it's a lot more fun because you can have somebody else to play off of, and it kind of keeps you going with it. You don't want to let the other person down. So sometimes that might be something to think about. But one thing I did look at today was that Amazon used to not have any digital cameras for doing shows and gear for podcasts and that sort of thing. And now they're starting to have lightning deals on them. So if you were holding back because you didn't want to start because you didn't have the gear. Now they're starting to have it. They're starting to have laptops on it, and they're starting to get more and more electronic equipment. So that might be a good sign. I don't know, because it seemed like there was a desert of equipment out there. People wanted to do shows, but they couldn't get the gear they needed. So I will say you don't really need much. I mean, I've know people that just they use their phones and they prop up their phones so they can record. A lot of phones do really good, 1080, p whatever. 720 is fine. I think I'm on 720 on this just because my internet can vary greatly since I'm doing a nighttime show. Like from the time I start, it looks pretty clear, but then like let's say my husband gets on a video game and then it might slow down. So 720 is good. It keeps it so I can keep running and it's all is good. If I had a little bit better internet, then I would venture into the 1080 whatever, but I think it's fine for this. Another option could be pre-recording. If I pre-recorded my show, I could do it at a higher DPI. Dots per inch, is it? Yeah, I'm like, my brain is just like work brain. But it's nice to try to make it as professional as you can, but it's a little hard for most people to stick with it if it has to be perfect. And that's why I like the live stream format, is because you can just do it. You just like go. And sometimes you get comments that will like put you in a different direction. It makes it a lot more fun. It's more like improv. So are you a person that can deal with improv? If you're not and you like to control it, maybe just pre-recording it and editing it, making it nice. But don't kill yourself trying to edit things to the point where they're perfection, because you're going to have to do it every week. Can you do that every week? A lot of us can't. I work another job, right? So you do what you can. For me, it's just things like StreamYard that I'm using for this show make it a lot easier, because you have built-in tools so you don't have to worry about loading music and having it go. I used to use OBS, and then I worked OBS into Zoom. For a while, we used it was God, my brain's going blank. When we just did it as a podcast, it would be it was a lot easier because I could use my phone, I could use just the computer, and the apps were really easy to use. So maybe a podcast would be the thing that works for you. So don't let it hold you back. I mean, really, like if you are interested in doing a show, this is a fun time to experiment. There's so many great websites that will give you a little like tips and tricks. My StreamYard community on Facebook is amazing. And one of the best things about it is we all use StreamYard, like I use for this show. And you can just chat with people and ask questions. And sometimes you get links to free stuff. So like if you wanted to do a countdown timer, they had those, or how to do videos on yours. So like my intro is on there. Yay! Total Vagabonds. Nice to see you. Yes, I love getting to see you on the show. I've missed you. So just saying, like if you wanted it, on my own Liberty Librarian page, I posted a link to StreamYard. So this is what I use. There are 3 options. There's a free option if you just want to try it out. Yay, hey. And there's pay options. There's 2. There's a basic, is what I use at home for my Sweet Subversive show. And this one is the pro version, which we use for Freedom Revolution Network. So the difference is the free, you don't get to live stream to multiple sources. You only have one place you can go to. For the basic, I think it's 3 now. So what you could do is you could like have like your YouTube, your Facebook, something else. Like I often have a site called Restreamio, which is free. There's another one called Caster that's almost the same, works a lot better, but it's pay. So it depends how much money you want to put into doing a show. And it's one of the things people ask me about all the time is how do you do it? Do you make any money? I don't make any money. I really like doing this, and I think if you expect right away that you're going to make money, you probably won't. Um, what unless you're like doing like financials, something that appeals to people, and then they can buy into a class or a book you sell, or you sell things and tie it into your show. But I don't expect to ever make money, but then again, like I saw at DragonCon last year, which by the way, I'm super bummed. One of my favorite things in the world is canceled for this year because of the pandemic. The boo. They're doing a virtual DragonCon right now, but I'm not going to be around enough this weekend because this is one of the few times my husband and I can spend our weekend together and instead of me going to DragonCon and him going elsewhere. And we always have a good time, and then we get back together and we have a blast. But it's one of our few weekends that we do our separate thing. And so this weekend we're totally going to celebrate both like our belated anniversary and go do fun stuff. So I'm so excited. So without sharing too much, I think that this year is a good year to explore like what are things that you want to learn more about. How can you make that happen? What can you do to make those steps go forward? And ask people. This librarian likes to connect people with information. So even if you just ask, I might not know, but I may know somebody else who does. So, usually we're all interconnected in a really funky way that makes it so we can help each other out. And often I've just said, you know what, I need a change. Like right before I like got this job, I told people, I'm like, I'm looking for something different. I want to have new challenges and fun things that, I liked my former job, but just to move on to something different, keeps you energized. So because of that, people told me about positions, and I interviewed for a couple of different jobs that were amazing. That was just so much fun to learn about different kinds of libraries. And I don't know where I'm going with this, but I think that you just need to talk to people. Like if you have dreams that you're trying to pursue and you feel like, I'm just not lucky. Sometimes all it takes is just saying the thing that you want and putting it out in the universe, and the universe will process it and go, yeah, maybe it is your turn. But if you never say it and you never acknowledge it, why would it come to you? I think sometimes it's just a little bit of believing in it. And, people will go, take it for what you will. It could be amazing. So that's where I'm going with that. I don't have a huge show tonight because my my favorite American Library Association Intellectual Freedom blog, they didn't update last week. I'm not sure what happened. Their page is still as the week before. So I'm like, dudes, I'm counting on you. Like where is it? They might have taken a vacation week. It's very likely. But I will say I did find some really interesting things I want to talk about tonight. So I'm gonna take a little sip. I'm having a beer. It is almost the weekend, pre-weekend, almost Labor Day weekend, right? I know last year we talked a little bit about it, but the thing I wanted to, and so what would I even say about it? Yeah, we covered that. Watch my show from last year if you're interested in like the history of Labor Day and like things that are going on. So the thing that was interesting to me was that the FBI reported they're investigating a report of a guy in a jetpack flying 3,000 feet in the air near LAX, and they say only in LA. So how long do you have to be in a pandemic where you start tinkering and making things, right? So for me, it's like doing more shows, tinkering on my intros and outros, learning like Portuguese, like the normal things for a Heather to do, right? But I am imagining that there are people who are very skilled in building things and technology, that I am sure that when you lock up certain people, they're going to build amazing, crazy things. And somebody built a jetpack and they're testing it and flying it around. Can you imagine, though? The newest, tallest building that they're making in Dubai, I think, is 3,000 feet. And it is going to be the tallest building in the world. I think they're building it now, or they're planning on building it. I read it in a website because I was like, what's like 3,000 feet? Is there a building that's that tall? So this will be the tallest building. And this dude or chick, I don't know, like, how do you tell when somebody's wearing a jetpack? They probably have a helmet, they got gear on so they can fly. Was 3,000 feet. I'm thinking, how cold is it up there? The wind, and it's amazing. But I think what's really interesting is that the FBI is investigating it, because are they thinking it's going to be like terrorism? Is it going to be like, who is it? And our government likes to regulate everything. So I'm sure they're going to be not so keen on it. What I want, and I was looking for it just a little briefly this week, I want to see pictures. I'm sure somebody saw him. Like, look at that dude. Somebody like even videotaped it or whatever, just to show there's a dude flying around LA. And you kind of wonder if after he knew he was caught, if maybe he is laying low for a little while. How amazing is that? So the story was, there's a couple of different jets that were flying people around LA, and they said, Tower, this American Airlines, 1987. We just passed a guy in a jetpack, the pilot said. American, 1997. Okay, thank you. Were they off to your left side or your right side? The controller said. Off the left side, maybe 300 yards or so at our altitude. So way up high. And Frontier, let's see. Okay, another pilot was also reported a sighting as well. We just saw a guy pass by us in a jetpack, he said. So this guy's going fast. Is he Iron Man? Who is it? Is it the Rocketeer? What is happening? Or like the Mandalorian or Boba Fett or what? I posted about it today or yesterday, and I don't even remember what day it was, but I'm just in awe of the fact that somebody made something that fast and it went up so high that jets were seeing them, and he got so close to the jets. It's so brazen. What's with that? I kind of want to know. So it says, person in jetpack reported 300 yards south of the LA final at about 3,000 feet, 10-mile final, the controller said. Another pilot summed it up best. Only in LA. So the bizarre report has prompted much speculations as why anyone with a jetpack would be flying in the line of incoming planes. Steve Crowell, a safety aviation expert, said he believed the pilot's reports. There's no question in my mind that the American pilot was very definitive about what he saw out his window. As of Tuesday, no one has come forward to take credit for the stunt. The FAA was also investigating. So, they don't really jetpacks are very dangerous. I'm just going to say that. I'll put that out there. Oops, sorry. There's something on my screen. It was bugging me. Jetpacks are dangerous. It takes a certain level of training and skill and just crazy pantsness to fly them. You got like something shooting air straight down and you're flying around trying to avoid hitting the earth. You've got to be kind of like a crazy person, I think, because it's like hardcore. I've read a few different sites about jetpacks, because who hasn't thought to themselves, like, weren't we promised flying cars? Weren't we promised jetpacks? Weren't we like promised this future where, utopia, and you can just do what you want and you can get around really easy. You don't need to, worry about it. You can just fly to work, you know. The problem is, like, people are soft like pudding, and you fall down and you break like an egg. So it's such a dangerous contraption that I'm guessing not only do they not want it, but like, really, somebody flying so close to a jet, what if they go into the engine? They make the plane crash. They aim at it. They don't want people to do that. I get it, but they're so cool. I have like the devil's advocate, but they're so cool. They look so neat. You have like Boba Fett flying around in it. He looks badass. Why wouldn't you want to have like a jetpack, right? So one of the things I was reading is an article by The Guardian, and that was a couple years old. It's like, why aren't we all flying in jetpacks? The tech has shown promise, but jet propulsion has never been part of our daily lives. Here is why. So they said, those of a certain age remember the opening ceremony of the 1984 Olympic Games in LA, where as Rafer Johnson hit the eternal flame, a man strapped in a rocket-propelled backpack launched himself across the arena above the ticker tape and balloons, landing gracefully on the track before an audience of 2.5 billion. So it's in our heads from way back, and we all are like, yes, I want that. Like Buck Rogers had a gravity belt, and the king of the rocket men. So we'd all be flying to work. That was, like they said, even Isaac Asimov said he predicted that by the turn of the century, they would be as common as a bicycle. We don't have them. Hardly anyone has them. So why aren't we all flying to work? So the rocket men, it's not entirely fiction. There's a Russian pilot that had been working on one. Alexander Andreev had been working on one as early as 1919. So they've been around. Germany, so like 100 years ago, over 100 years ago, people were working on them. German Second World War rocket was Werner von Braun had allegedly worked on a jet vest for the U.S. Army after the war, which became Project Grasshopper, aiming to be a jump belt so they could like jump into situations. But they all fizzled out because there's lack of funds. People aren't as interested in rockets and jetpacks. So the rocket belt was first tested in 1960 by an engineer named Wendell Moore, and that it was witnessed as a working jetpack. It worked using turbojet rather than a rocket. So the U.S. military commissioned Moore and John K. Hulbert, a gas turbine specialist, to work together on a jet belt or man rocket for the possible military use. Of course, like anything really cool, they want to see if they can militarize it. So Moore's first problem was fuel. Anything capable of producing enough thrust burned up in a flash. So, you don't want people exploding. You don't want it to be super hot, because anything shooting fire down your butt, you would melt. So they started using hydrogen peroxide, a compound commonly used as bleach, as a fuel. So the two cylinders are attached to a fiberglass frame and another nitrogen gas, and this explodes into superheated steam shooting through the twin nozzles at 700 degrees Celsius, so whatever that is in Fahrenheit. So they thrust it. The human body's natural resistance to aerial navigation was the problem. So directional thrusters controlled by hand control levers are extremely tricky to stabilize, because you're flying, you're not going to be, you're leaning into it, it might go the wrong direction. So this engineer Moore first flew the first flights himself, but in February 1961, the belt swerved like an unintended fire hose and snapped its tether, and he fell 2.5 meters, breaking his kneecap. So he wasn't that keen about doing it that much after that. So 36 tethered flights in a hangar. The untethered belt was finally flown outside by a person named Harold Hal Graham, He was a 27-year-old Bell test engineer with no previous flight experience. Amid the cacophony of steam, he flew for just about 13 seconds, covering over 34 meters, 112 feet, and an altitude of 18 inches. And they have a video, which I think I'm going to show. Let's see. Copy. See if I can get that to work. Here. I'll share it with y'all. Here it is. And it's just, real simple. It just looks like almost like he's getting picked up by a cord, but it's really fast, and you can see how they can turn. And this is the simple design is what it is pretty much to this day. So not so bad. Let's see. And then, so it was a big hit with the public. People love the idea of a jetpack. It looks so cool. It's like being Superman, right? You're flying around. It's the closest we'll ever be to being a superhero, really. So I made a flying machine, and the belt weighed about, way too much. It's very heavy, so usually stronger people will have to carry it. They've never really, in the past, they never really got over the weight problem, because you have to be really heavy, and you got to carry a lot of fuel, because even for just a short distance to fly, you need to carry a lot of fuel for that. So it was very tough back then. So the idea caught on. People wanted to do this more and more, and so they made a belt. Stunt pilot Kenny Gibson was next to try this belt, making himself a millionaire flying as a rocket man until his passing from natural causes in 2015. But his success is partly why you haven't come to work on the rocket pack this morning, gone to work this morning taking your rocket pack. By 1990, the 90% pure oxygen he needed was becoming too expensive, so Gibson tried his engines with 88% oxygen and a catalyst to compensate, but the pack malfunctioned, smashing up his knee. He sued the chemical company for the malfunction and won, leading the companies refusing to make 90% oxygen you would need for that home-built rocket belt. So in 1992, there was a project by the Bell model, which was based on that, built by a few different guys, Brad Barker, Larry Stanley, and Joe Wright. So if there's ever a moral reason not to build a rocket, the story told in the Rocket Belt Caper by Paul Brown, involving lump hammers, lawsuits, and drug smuggling and murder, is it. So you probably want to read about that at the Rocket Belt Caper. I'm gonna open that on another page, because let's see if that's where to get that. Oh yeah, the true tale of the invention, obsession, and murder. This looks like it'd be actually kind of cool. It's a book, first published in 2005. Wow. It's like, if you're interested in jetpacks, this book is about the true story of invention, obsession, and murder. Wow. So by Paul Brown. So there's a book for you, a recommendation if you're interested in this. Here's what it says. This kind of looks neat. We finished the rocket belt, and from then on there was murder, kidnapping, and all kinds of other stuff. When three friends set out on a quest to build a real-life Buck Rogers style flying machine, their obsession with the rocket belt 2000, or Pretty Bird, shattered their friendship and set in motion an astonishing chain of events involving theft, deception, a bizarre kidnapping, a $10 million lawsuit, and a horrifically brutal murder. This book also reveals a secret history of the flying jetpack involving Nazi scientists, James Bond, and the U.S. Army. From sci-fi to reality, this true story of the amazing rocket belt. So totally say, if you're into this, into the science part and how things can go sideways, and this is part of the reason why you don't have a jetpack today. It's because the corruption that followed the tales of jetpacks all around. So now we're getting closer. 2010s, the jetpacks have become a reality again. You go on YouTube, search for jetpack, and there are so many people making their own jetpacks. They're inventing things. There's competitions. Water-propelled hydrolift jet devices have become commonplace. For the last couple of years, I've seen them over in Fort Myers, where we like to go. So it's really kind of taking off. So jetpacks, have that hydrogen peroxide problem. They need to have enough. It's scarce. So they need to come up with different ways of fueling the rockets. So that is the thing that people have been working on lately. So at a quarter mile a gallon with the motor as loud as a Harley Davidson, jetpacks don't feel practical. People like the quiet. So more hopeful is the offering from Jetpack Aviation, who specialize in personal vehicle takeoff and landing devices. So they go straight up. It demoed a JB-10 in Monaco, and it was for 2 minutes aloft, and in London in October, 4 minutes aloft, last year to some acclaim. The brain power behind it, one Nelson Tyler, who aims to release an electric version in 2019, which I haven't heard about. Probably coming soon, but it's also 200,000 pounds here, so way more than that in American dollars. Can I get this to go? I don't know. Let's see. I'm gonna show you that one. That one's really cool. Oops, I went on the wrong thing there. Let's look at that. Oh, there's Darcel. James Bond used a jetpack in the early 60s in Thunderball, right? I mean, Iron Man uses it. There's so many characters that have basically a jetpack. It's every little boy's dream and little girl's dream to be able to fly around. It's almost like being Superman. I love it. Okay, let me see if I can share this. Which tab was it? Okay, this is the one. You can tell it's really loud too. Isn't that cool? That's just a clip from The Guardian. So I think what I like about that one is it uses the hands to kind of fly around. I know, right, Kara? It's like they look amazing. And so I went down this rabbit hole this week about looking at jetpacks. And then it took me to looking at people making spaceships. And there's a whole society, especially out in of like Russian dudes that are building spaceships to go out in outer space. That's the idea, is that they want to be able to travel out, and our own country is like kind of holding a lot of people back because they want it to be private businesses, so they have more controls, more safety. But like the rest of the world, it's kind of almost becoming a free-for-all. It's really exciting. You watch some of the videos about the work they're doing, and this is such high-tech stuff. It's way over my head, but it kind of makes you feel like you're a dreamer, you're a kid again, getting to see that. I wanted to show you, there's a couple videos that I posted on my own page. Let's see. They were, where is it? Where did it go? Here it is, because I was talking about the jetpack stuff. And one of the things that got me thinking about it is, jetpacks aren't very comfortable. You feel a little bit unsafe. So I found a couple videos of different kinds of drones. Like you think about those tiny little drones that fly around, and they're talking about having them deliver mail. Most people use them for aerial shots, spying on people. Some of the drones have guns, so they can use them to shoot people. But this use, which I thought was really neat, was actually to fly. So you could sit on it. Now, I'm going to show you 3 different models, and I'm just going to show you a clip of them. The first one is the most primitive. but I also think it's the one that people could probably build themselves the most and be the easiest to get to work, because you just have to tether a whole bunch of little drones together and make it work. But I'm gonna just show you that because it's pretty cool. I like that. I'm gonna pause it for a second. Let's see, share. This one. It's a quadricopter. So here we go.
Run. I have not been flying this multi-rotor properly for almost a year. I did a short hovering flight around New Year just to lower the voltage in the batteries because I tried out the new charger, so they were all fully charged and I need to recharge them slightly. But I'm really rusty, and I can both feel it and see it that I'm sort of I'm overcompensating, and I'm kind of a little bit jerky on the controls and not as smooth going in a headwind and then changing to the tailwind. I noticed that I'm sort of not as competent as a pilot right now that I was when I left off last season. But it's all good fun anyway. It's just that it's not as beautiful flying it as I remember it. Okay. It's a pretty clean runway, but it's still a lot of dust blowing up. Small particles of asphalt or sand.
So I'm going to stop that one. So you get an idea. This is what it looks like. This is a bare bones. People are making this kind of stuff with their own gear. I can't imagine how much it would cost with all of those little drones, like kind of like rigged together. The big difficult thing with it is battery and making sure you have a full battery, because can you imagine you're flying up there and you run out of juice and you just crash? So obviously a lot of these new drone flying machines are a little bit they're more for like low level, which I think actually has a lot of potential, because really, do you have to go way up high to be flying around to get to work? I'm a big believer in the next big thing could be like programmable cars, and they could have like these drone vehicles, like could like come and pick you up and just take you to work. It could be like a really interesting way, and then they dock when they're done, so they recharge. I mean, it would be like short distance kind of things. Now, that was like the first thing I saw, so I was like, ooh, that's kind of cool. But next there was a little bit better one. So each of them got a little bit better that I saw. The other one was a personal electric flying sports called the EVTOL. Let's see. I'm going to show you what that one looks like. Sharing. Now this one looks more like the little kit ones that they used to have for when I was younger. You know, they'd make the little flying kits, but this one looks a little more practical yet, because it's like you can land it. You don't have to have like, I don't even know how that guy got in and out of his rings, but it flies pretty fast. So I mean, this is another thing. The thing I don't like is if you see him, he's holding his controls, like basically they're drone controls, in his hand, and I'm thinking like you've got a updraft and you'd be dropping your controls, you pretty much crash. So I wonder how they prevent it from you falling, really. But yeah, he's scooting around really fast. I just thought that's pretty cool. So this is one of the first like they call it a sports car, but it's a little bit more lighter. I think if they put wheels on it, you could just land it and then go right into driving. I mean, how cool would that be? So, yes, I was fascinated. And there he goes. And then the last one I wanted to show you, because like I'm obsessive about it now, was where did it go? It was the smallest one, and it looks really neat. I'm going to show you this one, and this one just like kicks butt. I'm going to share that. Oh, it's trying to do an ad. Is that right? Or is there music? Let's see. I'm going to mute the music because who needs that? Some copyright crap. So what they did is they're kind of like gearing up like it's a sports car. He gets in it. It's got kind of a plastic outside, and then you see it's got a ring around it. I'm not putting music on because it's mood music, but it's the same idea from that second one where it's got the propellers on the outsides, and he can get in and out of it like it's a little car. I think it'd be neat if you had it so you could like get those blades to kind of roll in, and so you could change it to either a car or a boat. How cool would that be? But I mean, he's really flying around. I think it's amazing. You watch these cows look at it and like, what the heck is that? And he's just like, it's like he's floating. It's so amazing. So anyway, those are flying. The kind of the flying sports cars of our future and our dreams, right? So what's next? What did they promise us? We'd all have spaceships. We'd all be able to go to other planets. And I know one of the things with the space programs that they're planning on having it be commercial. So I know a few of them have talked about bringing about 100 people up into outer space in our lifetime. So wouldn't that be cool? Like your next vacation, instead of pandemic being stuck at home, you could go to the moon and they have a base there, or you can go to a space station or just fly up there for a little while, take pictures of the earth and then come back. I mean, it just blows your mind just thinking about that we're so close and all of our sci-fi dreams could be coming true. And that kind of led me down another path of predictions, like how with the jetpacks it felt like they could have easily predicted some of these things, but not all of them. Like why don't we have them? I mean, we all really would like to have something like a jetpack or to be able to fly, or I want a self-driving car or something so I can just climb in the back after going to a show up in another city and go to sleep while it drives me home, and then get home, it wakes you up, you go to bed, so you can like go do fun stuff every day of the week and it doesn't matter. I mean, how cool would that be? And the next, and people want hoverboards. They want to have, everybody has stuff that I think like, what would be the future to you? Would it be something like a holodeck on Star Trek? Would it be, for me, it would be more like the, what is it, where they make the food, the replicators, and like you just make anything you want anytime. That would be pretty much awesome. Of course, like Star Trek has that kind of military utopia, which is sort of questionable at times, but it's supposed to be all peaceful, pretty much. They fly around the universe, they explore. It's all about knowledge. I mean, that appeals to smart people. I get it. Sometimes when you think about how they keep things going, it feels like it wouldn't work, but who wouldn't want to have a utopia society, right? Where you can fly, you can do whatever you want, spend your time thinking of great new ideas like that. But that would be utopia for a lot of people. Or just not having everything taxed and all your money taken and stolen. That could be another thing. But let me say, I did look at predictions. And one of the things that comes up every single time is that, is this the end of the world? Have they predicted what kind of fun, cool things are coming? Have they predicted like 2020, like our pandemic? One of the things that was going around in the news the other day, it's a couple months ago, was that, Kim Kardashian West, or whatever she calls herself now, was sharing that there's a book from 2008 that was called End of Days by psychic Sylvia Brown. You remember her? I think she passed, was it 3 years ago? I'm going to look that up. I'm going to look it up right now because I hate not knowing. Sylvia Brown. When did she pass? She died in 2013. So 7 years ago. I was thinking 5. Time is weird. Okay, so she had some really interesting books. She was very much a celebrity psychic, so you take some of it as you will. What Kim Kardashian West said was that from this book, there Brown had predicted a severe pneumonia-like illness, which had spread across the globe in 2020. So people were going, "Wow, she was accurate," but is it true? So just because Kim Kardashian was talking about it, it had a spike in Amazon sales for that book. So it hit the top 10 in Kindle ebook charts in the UK and the US because of her talking about that. So a number of the psychics and spiritual readers have since weighed in claiming that they too predicted the pandemic. Because, I mean, like that's bread and butter for psychics, like pay psychics. Not, like some of them may have like really accurate things and other times you're just like none of the things you say are right. So it just depends on the person, right? So they had like unproven mystical explanations to why it happened. There's a crystal healer that said that from New York had been hit so badly because it was built, the whole city of New York, they said it was built on crystals. And she claimed that this Deborah Hainkamp, I think it was, said she claimed these activated and intensified what you're experiencing. So, creating a little more fear, but it's interesting to hear why they think things are worse in some places than other. I will say I do think some cities attract negative energy, and I live in a town that I think it must be built on something because like you get in here and you try to get signals from outside of town, like TV signals, radio signals, and it's like a dead zone. What would make it? It's not like just when you're in the valley or when you're on the hilltop, it's everything in the area. So I feel like there's probably a giant spaceship buried under the city. There's something big under Mankato. And that's my conspiracy theory of the day, is that because of whatever weird crap is under this city, that's why all this weirdness happens here all the time. So seems like a good Stephen King novel. So anyway, so Brown passed away in 2013, she made a bunch of predictions about the future, including how the world would end much the way T.S. Eliot predicted, not with a bang, but with a whimper. So, and some of the other predictions that they said, which I think is just kind of interesting to look at later on, said they talked about the 2004 kidnapping of Amanda Berry. In a televised segment, she told Berry's mother that her daughter was not alive, and then Berry later said that she's 98% believed Brown. Berry's mother passed away 2 years after Brown made a prediction, and Berry was later discovered to be alive in 2013, which is a super bummer. She never got to see her daughter again. Plenty of other predictions made by Brown in her book did not come to pass. She claimed people would have microchips in their brains to override mental health issues like schizophrenia, which I'm just going to say, though the examples they gave, no, they don't have it for that, but they do have electrical impulse machinery that goes into different parts of your body. So I don't think that she's totally wrong, but she wasn't like Nostradamus, which would be like, wow, that's close enough. So she also said by 2020 it'd be common for women to give birth in gravity-rigged birthing chambers. Not a thing yet. So she also predicted the U.S. presidency will come to an end this year. We'll see. People get so fed up with the American presidency and the executive branch of government that they shut it down. And this is like 7 years ago, so it's not because she knew who would be in office. And that Atlantis will rise from the depths, and rising infertility is caused by spirits who don't want to reincarnate. Which, I mean, right now, would you want to come back to this? Probably not. That she said that pedophiles will be neutered, chemically neutered, probably. Meteor showers and space trash will shower the Earth in 2029. We'll have to see. That sounds exciting. We often get things that are returning to Earth. So space trash, meteor showers. we've had them anyway. But I guess 2029 is going to be a big year for that. And old diseases will suddenly return because people have stopped vaccinating, which is true. It's true. So she says, like, that some diseases will be eliminated, but diseases such as smallpox and polio will return between 2075 and 2080 with a sudden worldwide spread of diseases. So, sadly, along with the toxic atmosphere and having nowhere to live that's not disastrously flooded and weather challenged is what will bring us to an end of our lives on Earth. We're all going to die disease-related deaths because it'll be amazingly easy and peaceful. So weird. One of the things that she predicted that sounds cooler to me, because who wants to talk about illness during a pandemic? We're all going to be living in dome cities, which I always thought was cool. But built a dome city probably to protect people from like pollution and that sort of thing. Three-ply synthetic glass and plastic, she said, be tinted, opening and closing to allow people to fly in. Air would be purified, as well as the temperature controlled for maximum health. Those cities would be in high demand because only rich people would live in them, which sounds like a thing rich people would do. 3/4 of the earth will be covered in water because global melting of like everything. And then they say there's volcanoes are going to erupt and decimate much of the world by 2085. So some of her things were kind of bonkers, but I think it's kind of neat to see, like, I think the technology side of stuff. Mandatory rehab. Stock market will cease to exist in the US, she predicted. I'm just like scanning through. There's so many. But yet you get somebody like Nostradamus who lived way before Sylvia Browne, and people continue to quote him and think, victories like air travel he talked about, and the Great Fire of London, the rise of Hitler, so he referred to as Hister. And it's worth noting that the astrologer also wrote about something that bears a striking resemblance to 9/11. The sky will burn at 45 degrees. Fire approaches the great new city. Immediately, a huge scattered flame leaps up. So whatever that means. There are references like the plague of the maritime city and diverse plagues upon mankind. But in this KQED article, they talk about the Prophecies of Nostradamus book by Erica Cheatham is a complete translation of the original text, first published in 1973. And he was looking around. Is it he or she? I'm like looking at the author again. Ray. I think that's RAE. I think that's a female. Maybe not. Who cares? They said that there's some prophecy there that they said plague, lightning, and hail at the end of March. In the feeble lists, great calamity through America and Lombardy. The fire in the ship, plague and captivity. Mercury and Sagittarius, Saturn warning. We all understand the references to plague and captivity, so you're stuck at home. But everything else in the passage lines up too. The feeble lists refer to the sick and the dead. America and Italy, Lombardy is a region in the north of the country, are in the top 3 of the most infected. Mercury entered Sagittarius in December 2019, which is when the first cases of coronavirus occurred, and Saturn moved into Aquarius on March 21st, right as New York City was going into lockdown. As for fire in the ship, multiple cruise liners have become stranded at sea during this crisis, and the Grand Princess, which was docked in Oakland from March 9th with 21 confirmed coronavirus cases on board. So all of this suggests that Nostradamus did see this coming after all. It wouldn't be the first time. The following passages is often interpreted as predicting World War I and the flu epidemic that killed over 50 million people directly afterwards. They said the dreadful war which prepared in the West. The following year, the pestilence will come, so very horrible that young, nor old, nor animal will survive. Try not to feel too frustrated about our current predicament, though. Things could always be worse. After all, Nostradamus also predicted an imminent zombie apocalypse. So we might get that going for us. It says the year of the great 7th number accomplished. What could that mean? It will appear at the time of the games of slaughter. not far from the age of the great millennium when the dead will come out of their graves. They're like, something for us to look forward to in 2027, because it's a year of 7. So predictions, take it for what you will. It could be so far off, it could mean nothing, it could mean everything, who knows. But I like to think that we may have this dark future, we may have a bright future, we may have a blip in our timeline, but we control how we react to everything. And so if you want it to look on the side of being a dreamer and trying to realize that making your dreams come true, why not? Why? Your other option is to go lay in the fetal position and either wait to die or wait for it to all go away. And that's not cool either. So what I really want for all of you is to dream big and start thinking about, what is it that you always wanted when you were a kid? And is there a way that you can make it happen? And if you are the guy who's a jetpack dude that's flying around LA, fly safe, man. It's a dangerous time and they're probably all gunning for you right now. So be careful. And on that note, I hope you have a great Labor Day. I hope that you stay safe and you have fun and things are pretty cool. I love getting to talk to you, and I went on so many different tangents today. I'm sure your head's spinning, but have a great week. I'm going to play my outro. I hope you like it. I've been working on these things for so long. I'm going to just switch it back, and have a great week, kids. I will talk to you soon, and see you next Thursday.